how does a newbie to herbalism recognize less than ethical practitioners? That is, how do you find a good in-person teacher? Oh, my goodness. What an awesome question. I wish more and more students would really think about this. More people to use their discernment in this way. Discernment. That's how. Discernment. How do you build discernment? Okay, first of all, let me back up. Let me just pave this question foundational with I'll just state that I have a built-in trigger for this kind of topic. I really do. I can feel it getting close to that trigger point. I'm in control of it, but it's not triggered, but it's there. And that's because I myself challenge what I would consider unethical practitioners. And I find myself kind of on the outside periphery of some of the more clustered circles in the field, which is fine. That's where I am. That's because of I also recognize these things, right? So how do I do that? How would somebody else do that? How would they challenge them? Learn some basic logical fallacies. I think this is a really good practice for not just your question, but for learning information in general. Learn basic logical fallacies, ad hominem, straw man, red herring. There's about 10 of them that you could really learn inside and out. Recognize when people are making claims. And if you ask them to support their claim and they give you a logical fallacy, they'll make fun of you, or they'll say that those are the kind of questions that crazy people have, or something like that. Then you know that you're dealing with a less than ethical practitioner. This is a philosophical question, really, at its core, because that's one of the three branches of philosophy. You have ethics, you have the ontology, metaphysics, epistemology. And so I am the type of person that is very interested in somebody's epistemology and ontology and their metaphysics. So I will also basically try to find out what those are in a practitioner as well. I think that's really, really important, because you might have a very ethical practitioner, but really doesn't have a basis for the way that they understand how they get information, or they can explain. They don't have an answer for the nature of other things. I think this is all really relevant, just learning the philosophy of teachers. I think some big red flags for that would be, like I said, somebody uses a logical fallacy when they answer your question. Somebody makes claims that they won't back them up. They won't offer any evidence or proof to their claims. They're not willing to change their mind or listen. I think a really important part of learning is the honesty and the humbleness that comes with learning that you weren't doing something right. So a lot of times people have their identities. I've noticed in herbalism and many fields that people have their identities really entwined with what they think they know. And when you challenge that, it to them feels like you're challenging them, like their identity. And this is a straw man fallacy. I'm not associated with my beliefs. I can have beliefs and let go of them. It's not me. Nor am I associated with anybody who has these beliefs. It's not. So things like that. I think it's really, really important to learn your fundamental fallacies. Find them. This is a really fun exercise. Really fun exercise. Learn 10 basic fallacies. Go onto any herbal forum on Facebook and spot them. Do some homework. You'll find a fallacy in every single post, whether it's in the post or the comments, and just note it. Just put it down. Just be like, there's a straw man. There's an appeal to authority. There's this, there's that. Recognize that. And if any of those people are potential teachers, then maybe ask them about it. Ask them why they, if they continue to use those fallacies, then that's a red flag, and move on. And the second part of the question is, how do you find a good in-person teacher? Yes, that's what I'm talking about. It's really, let's make a call back to learning in person. There's something that happens when you're in a group of people, when you make the trip down to the herb walk and you're there and you're walking with people. There's this osmosis, there's this greater thing that happens, that it occurs, this oral lineage that comes through the teacher standing before the plant. There's just something about being immersed in the moment, in the physical moment with other people, that is not, that can't be quantified in a value. I think it's extremely important to learning herbalism. I know that we're like moving into the age of Aquarius, where you could be your own teacher and go on YouTube and learn how to fix a car and, deliver a baby or whatever. But I'm joking, sort of. But I really think that there's something big time about being in person, because herbalism is a community. It's about the community, the relationship that we have with our herbs that are present before us. It's about having a community of other people that are like-minded, that we could bounce ideas off of. There's also something about hiding behind the anonymousness of our online persona that allows the less than ethical practitioners to thrive and say things because they're not actually seeing the effects or able to look somebody in the eye that's challenging them. This is why I think local government is the only form of government that works. Blah, blah, blah. But I think it's how do you find a good in-person teacher? You gotta go. You just gotta go interview them. You call them. You say, "Can I come to your next herb walk? I want to study with you. How do I do that?" You nip at their heels. The people that are my apprentices now and that work with me are people that have been asking me over and over and over and over and over, "Can I work with you? Can I work with you? Can I learn from you? Can I go to your herb walk?" They sign up for all my herb walks. And I'm like, okay, that's the type of person that I really want on my team. And I think the same would be, just do your due diligence, learn the fallacies, get in person with them. If they're blowing you off and they're like, "No, I don't have time to talk to you about this stuff, blah, blah, blah," that's a red flag. You can move on. HerbRally has a really great resource, I think, of herbalists in all the different areas. And you know what? When I started studying herbalism, I drove across 2 state lines to learn. And I started studying with Jim McDonald. And so I would camp. And like I said, there's something about making the sacrifice and being present and going for it and removing yourself from these other things and just really going to, it's like the Kung Fu movies where they're like, they're outside of the door of Shangri-La and they're like, please let me in. Like, it's like, I really want to learn with you. And then like, they're like, master's like, let me think about it, and then like closes the door for like another full moon cycle or something like that. And then they go on to be like the best Kung Fu whatever person in the world. So those stories resonate because there's a truth to it. It's true. Make the sacrifice, go for it. Here's something that I want to say too, that I know isn't going to land with a lot of people, but I think it's really important to me. And I think that it is also, I think everything is a learning experience. And that means even our failures, even the times that went wrong, even the times that we studied with an herb teacher that turned out to be a totally unethical shithead. I think there's a lot of value in that. I'm not a victim to those times. I'm actually extremely grateful and blessed to have gone through hardships, and I take value from those hardships. And I recommend that type of mindset, leaving behind the victim mentality and moving into everything is a lesson, including the hard things, and asking and searching in the ways that you do through meditation, through prayer. What is this trying to teach me? What is this trying to teach me? What is this very difficult situation and this less than ethical practitioner trying to teach me? Think about how far herbalism has come because of, like, as a field, because of less than ethical practitioners in the medical arena. So many people come through underneath the yarrow in my doorway because they were wronged. And now they're on the right path, and they wouldn't have seen that path before. And they're grateful. They're grateful to be on it. I also encourage that type of thought, that cultivate discernment, learn your fallacies, think of everything as a lesson, and call out the inconsistencies when they occur. I think this is extremely important for our mental health, to call out inconsistencies. It doesn't have to be fighting words. You can just point things out that that's wrong. And if the other person takes that as a fighting word, that's their problem. Anyway, great question. Trigger avoided, but I feel a little bit looser on that one too. Awesome question. Go find yourself an in-person teacher. I think it's really, 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 really valuable. Even if that teacher is your grandma, even if that teacher is the group that you start, and you don't necessarily recognize yourself as the teacher, but you recognize that it's really important to be in person with other people and learning together. It's really fun. It's really important.